Hello everyone. This is take, I don't know, 10. Granger wants to be in the video, so here he is. Okay, get it out of your system. Okay, sit. Down, down, down. Now try to be good, okay? All right. Welcome to a new episode of What's on My Desk. Today's video is featuring stuff from Art Impressions, the Circlet Mini TryFolds. I really like these and I've been making some and I want to share with you some tips and tricks. So the first thing of course we have is my Gemini cutter. I've told you lots of times before how much I love this. Over here we have the Lawn Fawn Chamois. This is to clean your stamps, and I have some of these on Dutchpapercrafts 3 right now in stock for $7. This is a nice little container to put your chamois in. I don't know about you, but if I leave my chamois out and about, I get my cards and stuff wet. These I've seen on Etsy. Etsy, somebody makes these with a 3D copier, so you can find them there. This is the purple tape. I have some of this right now on Dutchpapercrafts 3 for, I believe it's $4.25. I have some Memento ink. I can get you some Memento ink and order you some. $5.50 a pad. I have the refill. The refills are $5. Have to refill my pad because I have a tendency to leave the cover off when I get busy. I have over here, I have the Misty. I can't sell the Misties. I don't have anybody that resales them, but I think a lot of you already have one. This I suggest you get if you don't have one. This is a Teflon bone folder, and I'll show you what this does. I do have, I believe, one of these left on Dutchpapercrafts 3 for $16.50, and I can get more. Just a simple eraser. For those of you, I am getting the mechanical erasers in that everybody's talking about. I can't wait to get them in. Just a pencil. This is the set we're going to do. I'm going to demonstrate for you. It's the Pasture Circlet Mini TryFold set. And a little tip when you're stamping these is the stamps are in the order that you stamp them. So in case you get a little bit confused, 1, 2, 3. Just remember that when we start the demo. And over here I have a Dremel tool. I don't sell Dremel tools. I got this at Lowe's, I believe. I believe my husband bought me this for a gift. And what I do is when you take these apart, those little edges that are sharp and that can eat into your paper, make a little groove, I just Dremel those and sand those out. It's really much easier than sanding them by hand. I also have some wire cutters to initially cut them, the dies apart, and this is the Vintage brand by, I believe it's Binders, I believe makes that. And I can get these for $9.35. And then this is just my old Martha Stewart Score Pal, or scoring tool. I can get the Score Buddy or the Score Pal if you want them. Just give me an email and I'll get you a price quote. I don't think this one's available anymore, so it's really old. All right, so let's start the demonstration. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I come over here to my Score Pal, and there's directions in the pack that says to cut the paper a certain dimension, and I tried that and I couldn't get the paper to work well for me doing it that, so I devised my own size. I cut an 8.5 by 11 piece. I cut it down to 10.5, so I cut off a 1/2 inch, and then the 8.5 I cut to 4 1/4 right down the middle. So for each card, for each cardstock, I can get 2 cards. Whereas if you use the directions on the Art Impressions, you can only get 1 card from an 8.5 by 11. And then just to make it easy, I scored at 3.5 marks each. So that gives me three equal pieces. So we're going to start right here at 3.5 and score. And then 3.5 plus 3.5 is 7. Score. And now we have 3 equal pieces. On the Art Impressions site, they say to fold this in on each other like this to make a card. Well, I like to do this. I like to make a Z card. And why I like to make the Z card is because it stands up on a desk and kind of makes a tunnel looking card, and I really like that effect. I'm going to go over here now and show you my Teflon bone folder and show you how this works. So what makes Teflon bone folders so great is nothing sticks to them. If you get ink or glue or stuff, you can wipe it right off and it doesn't discolor. But that really doesn't bother me. The reason I got it is it does not burnish the paper. So no matter how hard you scrape, I'm scraping here. I'm going to turn it over and scrape. You can see there's no burnish marks there, nothing. It's nice and clean, just like the paper looks. And that's a plus, because other folders I have always burnished. So I'm going to do this side too, flip it. Now we have our Z card. And these are the samples over here that I am going to be, some lucky people who place orders will get them. And you can see I made them into Z cards. So here's how they look, Z cards. And you can see inside how it kind of looks like a dimensional scene. And I really like that. So this one is this is an older one called the Front Porch Circlet. And there's the swing with the kitty, and you open it up that way. And then there's a little saying. This one says, no matter where you go, you can always come home. And when I send these out for my samples, I don't color them. I'm going to let you do that. These are samples, so have some fun with them. This one is called the Dock Circlet. And here's the dock, the boats, and then the little cabin. And then when you get it, it kind of looks like a little tunnel card in there. Okay, and this is the one we're going to be showing. This one's my favorite. This one is called the Pasture Circlet, and it's got a fence, some horses, and in the background, the barn. And then I'm just going to show how I mean when we stand these so someone can put them on their desk. You can kind of see how inside it looks like a little very pretty shadow box card effect to it. All right, so let's make one of these, okay? Now I'm not going to make it fancy. I'm going to go fast and furious here because I just want to give you tips, and I know how boring it is to watch people do stuff. Okay, so here's my card. I'm going to put my first image right here. I line it up in the corner on my Misty. I take the first stamp, which is the fence. I'm gonna line it up. Normally I'm very careful. I measure. I want it to look even. For here, we're just gonna go with it. Okay, picks it up there. I'm gonna ink it with my Memento. I'm going to reset that in my corner, push it down, and that came out good. Okay, I'm going to take, while I think of it, clean off my stamp. Okay, move that aside because we're now done with that. Now here's the part that gets tricky, and this is the part I know some of you have told me it's hard for you. So what I did is I took, there comes 2 dies in the set. 3 stamps, 2 dies. Everything you need except, of course, the card stock to make it. What I did is I took these dies and I cut out on scrap paper. This is just scrap, nothing special. I cut out the 2 dies. And this is what they look at like when they're cut. So here's the first one, the fence. So what I do is I line it up over my stamped image, and I kind of make it so there's no ink showing through. When there's no ink showing through, I'm right where I should be. Then I take a long piece of purple tape, and I'm going to make, well, first I'm going to tape this down so I don't mess it up. And then what you do is you take the die, and it'll lock into place when you find where it goes. I'm going to try to line it up, and it'll just sit into place. There. Okay. So now it's locked into place. I want to put the tape over the die and off onto my cardstock and even a little bit on my Misty. What I've made now is a hinge, and this helps so much instead of trying to figure out where the die goes on its own. So you gently lift this back and then kind of put the die back down, and it should go right where it belongs to cut this out perfectly. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to remove this long piece. I'm going to substitute it with a little piece, and I'm going to cut it out. When I cut these, I like to leave this edge just off the card because I have gotten a couple of creases from my Gemini. I don't know why, I don't know what I'm doing, so I just kind of leave it out the edge there. I'm going to gently run it through. Okay, it's done. We come over here. Okay, we take this off and I want to show you. Perfect. I mean, that just makes it so much easier to do it that way. Okay, we're going to go on to the next step. Right here, we've got to put the next stamp down. Again, I'll have another tip for you. So what you do is you take your pencil and you just trace this outer edge right here. And it's got a light tracing there. I'm going to put this edge right here. I'm going to work in this corner. Put the bar right here. Now you look at where this is right here. You can see the faint thing. Now, what I did, and I know none of you are going to like this, when the mini trifolds come on, they come on a piece of paper, acetate, that this is all together, and what I did is when the stamps were still on it, I cut them. Now, I know you're not going to want to cut these. It's going to be like, no, I don't want to do it, but it's worth it, and I'll show you why. It's so much easier to have these cut than to try to work on your Misty with the sheet. But you take the one with the next set that we're going to use is the horses. So we line the horses up here, and you kind of look at where that circle is. I can see it. Of course, it's very hard for you to see. What you want to be careful is that the inner pencil circle is inside your circle equally, so not too much to the right, not too much to the left, and you want to make sure your horses are even, that they're not looking up in the sky or they're not tilted down a hill here. So what you kind of do is you make it as best you can with, again, that pencil line. You can't see it, but it's right there. I'm just going to move it over, and now I'm going to tape this down right here. Okay, and then let's take a look if that looks good when we close the card. It looks great. Looks good there. So now we've got this where we want to be. It's in the corner. We take our stamp and we carefully line it up over this, and you'll know when you get it because it will show through nice and clear when you're where you're supposed to be. It'll be dark. Okay, and I just got it. So if you take a close look, can you see how dark that got and how it looks really nice? There, perfect. So let's catch that. It's in the corner. Hit it, lift it up. Okay, remove that piece of acetate. See, isn't it worth cutting that up for? Who knows, maybe Bonnie from Art Impressions will just sell us an extra piece of acetate so we can do this. That would be really nice if she did that. Okay, so it's all set to go in that corner of your Misty. Ink up your stamp. And make sure it's where it belongs. Push down. Okay, and the horses, they're good. I like them where they're at. So now that pencil line, you don't have to worry about it. We're going to cut that out. We're going to do the same trick. We're going to take our piece of scrap paper. We're going to put it over the horses so none of the black is showing. And that looks pretty good right there. Take a piece of, whoops, let me reposition that. Okay, some black showing. No black showing now. So let's just get that down. Take your die, kind of put it in place until it locks. There, it's locked. Make your hinge. Put it on. Nice, and put your paper so it's really adhered well. Okay, take off your piece of scrap tape. Gently lift that up and pull back the piece of paper. And then put your hinge down. And it should work right where it needs to cut. So the horses, parts of the horses, little tops of their heads won't be cut off, or a little lopsided. It works really well. It's a nice little trick to have. Okay, we're going to run this through the Gemini and cut it again, and we'll see how it works. Again, we'll put the die here so not to crease it. Put that on right there and run it through our machine. Okay, we'll take that off and we'll remove the die and let's see how it cut. Pretty good. Right on the horses, nothing's missing. So I wanted to show you that, and that's what we have right there. Now we're going to put the background one in. So for the background one, we put our circle right here. Shows us where to line it up. We do the same thing. So we're going to put this over in this corner right here. We're going to take the last stamp. We're going to line up the liner here, the piece of acetate, where we think we want it. I'm looking, it's very hard for you to see the faint line, so I'm just going to try to line them up here. But again, they're right along the inner circle here. And then my barn, to me, looks straight. So I'm going to put a piece of tape down. Just going to take my stamp, and again I'm going to line up that stamp where I think it goes so that it helps if I put it right, and to see if I can get that nice and dark. And that looks really dark right there. Right here you can see where it's really dark, and now we're going to pick it up on our MISTI. Okay, remove our liner right here. Now this time I am going to erase the pencil line because we're not cutting anything out here and we don't want that pencil line to show through. It's easier to erase it now than when it's inked up. And then you take your memento, ink it up really good, have it in that corner lined up, push down on your MISTI. And that's it. Looks good. And there's your card. Easy. So you do this, and that little, if you see that little impression, that's my fault. There was a piece on my Gemini plate and it embedded in the into the card. Sometimes, if that does happen to you, sometimes you can get that out with your bone folder tool by rubbing and rubbing the other way. I don't know if I'll be able to get that out. If not, we'll have to put a little embellishment there. So if anybody gets this lucky sample, you know you got the one that was on the video. All right, but just to show you the card, that's it. And it was simple and easy to make. And you can kind of see the tunnel effect right there. All right, I hope you're inspired to try the Circlet TryFolds. If you're seeing this video, it means that the brand new ones are available on my blog. I think they came out with five or six this time. There's a Thanksgiving one, a Christmas one, I believe a winter one. Go there and order that. If you want these older ones, just let me know. I'll get them for you. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, go craft something.